All right, let's settle this once and for all. What matters more in a PA speaker, sound quality or volume? Because if you've been around DJs, musicians, live sound at all, you've definitely heard both sides. There's always that person saying, I just need it loud. And then someone else is saying, yeah, but does it actually sound good? And honestly, guys, we've all experienced both extremes. You've probably been at a gig where the system was insanely loud, but it sounded like a blown speaker in a shopping cart. And then on the flip side, you've heard systems that weren't pushing it crazy volume, but sounded so clean and balanced that people actually stopped and paid attention. Not, wow, that's loud, but wow, that sounds amazing. Now, let's talk about volume first, because that's where usually is the case for most people starting out. And they look for volume. Does it matter? Well, if your system can't keep up with the room, if people can't hear clearly over the crowd, or your speakers are struggling and clipping, that's a problem. You need enough power, yes, enough headroom, and enough coverage to do the job properly. But here's the thing. There's a point where more volume stops helping and actually starts hurting. Louder doesn't automatically mean better. In fact, most of the time, once you pass that sweet spot, louder just starts sounding harsher, more ear fatiguing, and honestly worse. And we've all seen it. Someone redlining their mixer thinking that's the move. Meanwhile, the audience is starting to back away from the speakers like they're avoiding the fire alarms. Well, that's where sound quality comes in. And this is what people actually experience. Sound quality is the clarity, balance, and clear vocals, tight low end, smooth highs, and it's how everything sits together. A system that sounds great at reasonable volume will almost always be perceived better than a loud system that sounds harsh and muddy. And here's the key. People remember how your sound made them feel and not how loud it was. Nobody goes to a gig saying that DJ was amazing, he hit 120 decibels. That's not the thing. But they will say that sounded incredible or everything was so clear. And here's the reality. If your system sounds bad, turning it up doesn't fix it. It just makes the problem louder. Now, I actually ran a poll on my Sonic Spectrum YouTube community page recently asking what matters more in a PA speaker. And the results were pretty eye-opening. Out of 55 votes, 76% of you said sound quality, 16% of you said volume, 5% said price, 2% said portability. Now that says a lot. Most of you already know that sound quality is what really wins. And honestly, a great sounding system will get you way more compliments than a loud one. No one comes up after a gig saying, hey man, incredible job. That was aggressively loud. No. Like, what does that even mean? Great job, my ears are still ringing. No. What they say is that sounded amazing. That's what gets you booked. Again, that's what builds your reputation. Okay, I'll give you a real example from my own experience because this really drove it home for me. When I perform at, say, local senior homes, I use a pair of my Bose S1 Pro Plus speakers. Now, these aren't massive, earth-shaking PA speakers, but the sound quality is beautiful. It's clear, it's warm, it's smooth, and most importantly, it's easy to listen to. There's no harshness, no ear-piercing highs, nothing fatiguing. And every time I do these gigs, the seniors come up to me after the show and say the same thing. That sounded great. Not that was loud, not that had crazy bass. They talk about how good it sounded and the feeling they got. And that's when it really clicked for me. I made the right choice investing in quality sound because in those environments, especially, clarity and comfort matter way more than raw volume. You're creating an experience people actually enjoy and not something they have to tolerate. The reason I decided that I wanted to do a topic just on sound quality versus volume is because I have covered a lot of PA gear and speakers on my channel, and I get a lot of comments like, which one should I buy? And the thing I always say first is, what is it for? What room size? What's the crowd like? What type of genre are you playing? Are you DJ? Are you a musician? Are you just popping a speaker on a stand to make announcements? This all makes a difference. So definitely felt like this video deserved its own topic. And you guys know how passionate I am about sound. But this video is really so we can have the conversation in the comment section and kind of start and seeing what you guys are thinking. In this video, we're talking about sound quality versus volume. I just want to add a small little section about don't forget to buy high quality gear to go along with your high quality PA speakers, right? Remember we talked about volume versus quality. So I have a very good, at least in my opinion, Allen and Heath mixer. It's a good one. It's an entry level, but it's a good one. And my Shure Beta 87C condenser capsules. So I have invested in other gear to complement my speakers. So example, when I use my Bose S1 Pro Plus at the seniors care home, and I use my Beta 87C with the Bose, in my opinion, these complement each other. This is a smooth condenser on a smooth Bose speaker. Chef's kiss. I'm going to also say from personal experience, having sung on a cheap speaker, I'm not going to name names, but cheap speaker, you know, $100, $200, and then singing on $1,000 one or $800 one. When I sing through higher quality gear, okay, I feel it's more effortless. I hear myself better. I feel the song, right? You guys can relate, the singers that are watching. When you can hear yourself and it sounds good, you push it, you give it, and then you feel satisfied. And you know that the audience is, you know, feeling it. Have you had that? Have you had that? I won't put that in the comment section. Have you ever used a high quality and you're singing up there and you see that every audience are grooving and you're like, okay, this system is working with me, not against me. So here's my take. It's not really sound quality or volume. It's about balance. You need enough volume to handle your gigs, absolutely, but your foundation should always be sound quality first, because the clean system actually feels louder than a distorted one. And once you have that solid, great sounding bass, you can always scale up with more speakers or subs if you need to add. But if the core sound system isn't there, no amount of volume will save it. And now I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below. What matters more to you, sound quality or volume? And even better, have you ever had a moment in your experience where you used a high quality PA system and the client or the crowd actually noticed and complimented you on the sound? I'd love to hear your stories. Let's get a conversation going. That's what this channel is all about. I'm Chris from the Sonic Spectrum, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.